What's up, everybody? We're back here and we're in November. Missed a couple days of game time, but really all that you've missed so far is that our Mississippi River Squadron is going to get expanded a little bit here with those ironclads that we started. As you see, we somehow have a yellow ring around kind of everything right now in our pop-up menus. Hopefully that doesn't cause any more issues. So as those ironclads got finished, they're getting moved into the Mississippi River Squadron to prepare for an attack on Fort Hyman here in Tennessee. See if they can get undisabled and re-enabled here pretty quickly, and I'm gonna get them here back out in the water probably here momentarily, and see what we can do down here. One thing that we are going to do, we're not ready yet for some of those reforms. So the big thing that we're looking at right now, there we go, is going to be training reform. We're going to be stuck in winter quarters here for a little while, so a nice thing to do will be to boost our training for all of our men. That'll help us here the next year. The only other thing I'm really considering is civil order again. Civil order just boosts you a lot as you go, but probably won't get to Civil Order 3 for a little while once you start counting in all of the reforms that we'll have to start plugging away in here. So we'll go ahead and do that training reform, and we'll bring you back as Foot's Mississippi Squadron is ready to start moving and attacking Fort Hyman. Alright, so we're bringing you back. We've made it to November 15th. Our River Squadron, we added a couple smaller captured ships to essentially be cannon fodder to this fleet. They seem to be the two that are still disabled. So we are going to go ahead and slowly, because I've had this go wrong before, move Foot's Mississippi Squadron up here to try to engage Fort Hyman while not invading Fort Henry. So we're going to go a little bit slower right now, just trying to get there correctly. In the East Coast, we've got Farragut's fleet repairing from trying to destroy all those enemy blockades we dealt with early on. And he's going to start getting ready to attack a couple of these forts down here. We might go straight for New Bern or Moorhead because of the port right there. Either one would be helpful. Fort Thompson and New Bern, that's a level 1, so we might just start with the level 1 forts and then work our way to the level 2s as our ships get a little bit better. It's kind of a work in progress there. So we'll kind of work our way through some of the smaller ones, try to recapture those, put a garrison in those, and try to hold those forts and reclaim the East Coast. Alright, here we go with Foot getting just a little bit closer. 161 firepower. He's got 22 ships. About half of those ships are ironclads. Let's go check directly. Yeah, he's got a decent number of ironclads down here that we did invest in. Some tinclads. So he's got a lot to work with. It'll be just a matter of whether or not some of the smaller, less useful ships take some of the damage early on, and whether he can get enough ships in line without getting hit by multiple forts. So we are slowing the game down if you notice on the timer. Typically try to play at speed 2 or 3 on there, but sometimes with this set of forts you start engaging both of them and things go very badly. Well, I get a notification indication that the Gulf of Mexico has a naval battle taking place. Looks like the Memphis Squadron has made its way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Is Foot gonna engage them? Yes, we are. Awesome. That worked out. It looks like he's only engaging the one. It says right now we have a 90% chance. So we will be able to speed this up a little bit. We'll take you down to the battle in the Gulf of Mexico. That'll have a little more action quicker than anything going on in, well, and with that said, it's already over. Looks like we captured one ship. So let's get that sent back to base to get repaired. Man, the Memphis Squadron made it all the way to Florida. They seem to be struggling. And just like that, it looks like Foote has captured Fort Hyman. So that's huge right there, because that is a base of supply. Got some weapons deliveries coming in. We are going to slow it down to get caught back up. See how the squadron's doing. It looks like right now they're in good shape to go ahead and hit Fort Henry. So we'll go ahead and do that. Guess it could go terribly wrong, but it says they're in good shape. Not seeing any major damage anywhere. And this is looking like it's another high likelihood of success. Obviously in real life, Grant had to come down with an actual army, but looks like right now we'll potentially be able to defeat them with just the Navy, which would be fantastic. Farragut's getting a little bit closer to being ready. Go ahead and slap another perk here. The Navy, I don't think we've added it in there, so we'll go ahead and make this a little bit better at bombarding forts. And just like that, Fort Henry has been taken. So, very quickly, that's 2 forts taken. If we check our supply, usually sometimes there's some supply that comes out of those forts. Might have to wait a couple days for it to register that we have them. And then we can send Grant's army down there to potentially threaten Nashville already. Let's check and see how the fleet's doing. We'll send them back to base, quick repairs, and then we will go for Fort Donelson. And if we can take Fort Donelson, the Missouri River Squadron is going to start moving up, or, well, I guess down the Mississippi River in an attempt to potentially take Fort Pillow. So if we can do that, then we have all of the forts of Tennessee taken pretty quickly. We'll come back here as we go. So we're bringing you back because we do have another naval battle taking place. It should be another quick one. Looks like the Charleston Squadron has decided to come back out to raid us, and they're already down one of their 2 ships, and both ships are gone. So that should disintegrate that fleet unless there's a bunch of ships that decided not to come participate. I guess we don't know. But the other thing we're going to do is start moving some of our armies in the west to kind of put a little bit more backup on those forts. We're going to move Grant down here to Fort Hyman, though we are going to move him by river to just avoid this western department here that's a little bit stronger than him. We will, based on house rules, go quickly turn off, since he won't be in winter quarters anymore. We did the same thing with the Army of Kentucky, Department of Columbus, and Department of Indianapolis. They're all moving to kind of get into supporting positions in case the rebel army decides to start retaking any of the territory here. We might use Bull Nelson down here to make a supply depot in Mumfordville. Tends to be a little bit of supply difficulty between Mumfordville and Nashville, so we may need to go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and put Grant there at Fort Hyman as we bring the Mississippi Squadron. Well, looks like we'll have to be a little more precise with those clicks to try and take out Fort Donelson. And like we said, we are going to try to also hit Fort Pillow at the same time. Fort Pillow does have 0 defenders, so it should be extremely quick and easy to take. But anybody that's played this game will be able to tell you that sometimes that's not actually how it works out. Farragut's getting a little bit closer. You see there was a pop of more guns ready to go. Let's see how many ships we have getting repaired still. 11. He's probably got a handful of those. Alright. Well, Fort Pillow, despite not having any defenders, is firing back and now has defenders. So there's that for you, as I was saying. The 1st Missouri State Guard ended up over there. It's a little more complicated than what we anticipated it being, but that's okay. We'll weaken the defenses a little bit. We do have 1 ironclad. If that means that it takes a little bit longer, that's okay. It'll just kind of wear down those defenders and pull some more resources from the Confederacy. Looks like Grant has made it, so we can go ahead and return on those reinforcements. Allow him to position his army. He's got full supply, good morale, so we're in good shape there. Looks like we're struggling. It says we have only a 34% chance. It might be time to disengage. Yeah, there goes another ship. We'll disengage and head back to port. We'll just have to reinforce Rogers here with the Missouri River Squadron. Hopefully he's able to get away. See, Fort Pillow, it's still saying, well, sometimes that's how it works out. Come on, Rogers. Pull back. Return to port. Return to port. Alright, well, let's see if Foot's doing a little bit better. Well, he has quite a bit more guns. Fort Donelson going to be a little bit of a stronger opposition, it looks like, than previous, but still saying a 90% chance of victory. So we'll see how that goes. If that works, we're going to be able to move the Kentucky River Squadron down a little bit further to defend. We'll pick up the pace just a little bit. Does not look like Rogers is complying with that order of get out. We'll try it again. And again. I mean, at this point, it's just a matter of what can we get him to do. We'll give him some more help on bombarding. Maybe if we just go and move him ourselves, maybe that'll get him out of the fort. If we force march him. Looks like that's working. There we go. Maybe we're disengaging. Trying to not lose that ironclad very quickly. The USS St. Louis. Let's see what about foot. So this one's taking a little bit longer, but you see those net brigades starting to fall off very quickly. We're up to 93% chance. Probably going to go in our favor here. It's going to be about time to go ahead and send Farragut down here to try to take this. We might have to hit it a couple times because, as you see, we do not have any perks for Farragut yet. And we'll bring you back as things start to happen. So we were able to get Rogers to finally disengage from Fort Pillow, which, thank goodness, he does still have 3 ships to work with. So we'll get them back to port and probably resupply that fleet. We start looking around. There are those forts down at the mouth of the Mississippi, and then also over there Fort Smith. Once we get past Fort Pillow, we can blockade most of the Mississippi River. And while we were busy worried about him, it looks like Foote has successfully taken the last fort on the Tennessee River in Fort Donelson, and so we will send him back to port to repair those 2 ships that look like they're disabled. We'll probably have to go order some new artillery. See, I'm really not sure why there's yellow boxes around everything right now. It does concern me that there's going to be some type of major flaw happen because of it, but I guess we'll find out. So just like that, the Tennessee River has now largely been taken. What we'll do is we'll move the Ohio River Squadron down to really hold those troops in Nashville. We want them blocking that bridge out of Nashville and the ferry out of Nashville. What that'll do is it'll stop their troops from ever moving north. The Kentucky squadron could potentially come over here outside of Sparta and Nashville, block that little ferry. We really don't have enough ships right now to do all of that and block all of Kentucky off, but we could also send one here to the railroad, which might be the most important. Let's see where Farragut's at in relation to... So Confederates passed military 2 right at the month marker. That's a bummer because it's not going to tell us exactly what. They recruited 80 men. Yeah, our intelligence might not be great there. So, overall, you see we're not doing too bad right now. We are obviously starting to take some territory in Confederate territory down there in northern Tennessee. You would think they're going to start at some point wanting to reconsolidate one of these two. Our intelligence really won't help right now because of the time at which they finish military 2, so we don't know if they're going to reorganize their army right now, which they could, or what policy they're going to start researching next. We might get some intel on that as things happen. But if they start doing that, we may need to be quickly following suit just to be able to get reinforcements in quickly. So Fort Hatteras. Looks like Farragut's lost a ship. But we're taking out most of their batteries. And he's gaining crucial experience right now. If we can take that fort out, that does help us towards that objective of forts and capture 10 of them before the next November. We are at 3, so we'll have to keep track of that as we go. It says 92% chance of success, so that's a positive. If we take that fort and potentially New Bern here, we'll have to look around and see what other level 1 forts we might be able to take out quickly. I'm not sure if we can get Fort Fisher with the other fort being right there. Some strong forts in Charleston. Maybe Fort Walker. Probably the next one we'll worry about is down here near Jacksonville or in Tampa. Fort Brooke down there. We might do that and cut off some southern support in Florida. Along with Fort Pillow, obviously, being another one that we really need to knock out quick. So he's got 11 ships disabled already. He is struggling, but that's to be expected early on without without many boosts and perks for bombardments. And we did kind of load him up with some ships that aren't the greatest for attacking forts. But better than nothing, I suppose. So hopefully this perk happens before the fort runs out of defenders. We might be able to take the fort this time through. If not, we'll just have to come back probably in early January and take it. While that's taking place, let's see how Well, it looks like Rogers is back in action, but he went all the way up to St. Louis. You gotta do what you gotta do. So we'll send him down to blockade while Foote goes down for Fort Pillow and works down the Mississippi. Again, the goal really is to at least get to 4 or 5 of those forts before the second year, and that gives you 11 months to really kind of play around and pick and choose the forts. We're obviously going to try to take New Orleans and really surround the Confederacy from both sides. We've got 3 forts down there that we're going to need. Farragut is going to need quite a bit of help. With all those level 2 forts, but if we can take New Orleans, it does make things quite a bit easier from causing the Confederacy to have to start figuring out where to send troops. So, as things happen, if we end up taking these forts, we will let you know. There we go, amphibious landing will help. He's still struggling and losing some ships. 17 of his 25 are disabled at this point. Looks like we've only got the 1 sunk, but we've got a handful disengaging. A lot of those smaller ships are pulling back already. Still says we have 99 firepower, so we might be able to put this one over the edge. But anyway, we will... Oh, looks like we did end up taking it. So we'll have to send him back to prepare many of his ships. But that puts our 4th fort in our control and takes access to New Bern, really, and opens it up. So, another huge positive there, and right as Farragut disembarks from Fort Hatteras, we have Foote back engaged along the Mississippi. And Fort Pillow already was hit pretty hard, so this should be quick. As you see there, the bar is already saying it's all but over with. So we'll slap another perk on him. We'll go with Limelight and really be able to bombard the heck out of all the forts that we're going to encounter. Potentially send that squadron up to help with Fort Smith in the rear of the armies there. Maybe even work out into Indian territory. Doubtful, but we'll see what happens. Well, looks like we are in trouble there. Tucky River Squadron lost a ship. Wow, that got confusing. A lot of alerts there. Looks like our forts were able to shove them off. Not entirely sure where their squadron came from, but yeah, it looks like Phelps lost one of his small ships. That's unfortunate. That Ohio River Squadron didn't end up being able to get down there. There we go. So we'll try to get you back here momentarily. We'll try to knock out this fort. That'll give us our 5th fort, and then we will probably step away for a couple minutes, try to get things sped up for you so we get a little more action and it's not just all naval engagements. But those winter months do get a little more complicated with getting things to I guess, happen. Should be any minute now. Just in case that ship comes back. And looks like we did potentially take that fort. Let's see if we zoom in far enough if we did it. It's saying we did not. See, this is my confusion. It's saying that there's no fort condition, but we didn't take it. Alright, well, like I said, we will bring you back here momentarily. We may have to re-engage that fort a couple times to get it taken, but it should happen here soon. Alright, it looks like we have finished those 3-year contracts. So that's really where things are going to start getting a little bit more movement here. We can either decide to go with Confiscation Act or kind of restart some of this reorganization. We'll go ahead and do Confiscation Act. Historically, it did happen a little bit sooner, so we'll go ahead and start there. And then the next thing we do here in 8 days will be that bounties project to try to get army reorganization. So what you can see there is we have passed that Confiscation Act. So the next item on the agenda is to go ahead and do these bounties, which I believe as soon as we click off that screen, yep, it's going to allow the organization reform, which we're going to do, as well as the cavalry and artillery reforms. So we're going to go ahead and end this episode here. We'll give you a sneak peek of kind of how this will work. Obviously, anybody that's played the game knows that it's going to take a little bit of time to reorganize now, but we will go ahead and upgrade this to an army, and therefore make McClellan the Army of the Potomac, and we'll start issuing corps commands from there. So we'll see you back here next episode. We'll give you a rundown of kind of how things look, so it doesn't take all of your time sitting here watching reorganization. See you next time.